Hi everybody, it's Friday evening on the 8th of February. Well, now it's the 8th because it's past midnight. Welcome to Emerald Gypsy Arts. I'm Janet. And I do promise that that'll be the last name change. Now, I'll tell you, it's kind of a comical reason why I changed it to something a little simpler than Gypsy Atelier. Even though I explained the reason for the word atelier in one of my videos, I got asked on 3 separate occasions by 3 people, was that my last name? So I decided just to try something a little simpler, and we went with Emerald Gypsy because I do have that website. So arts is all encompassing. I'm a multimedia artist, and so that sounded pretty good. Okay, so tonight's probably going to be a longer video. I warn you ahead of time. We're doing napkins, so I wanted to let you know it's going to be taking a little bit of time. Now, I just wanted to throw in one reminder, okay? Little tiny pocket dictionary, right? Tiny pocket dictionary. I think I got it for 50 cents at one of the secondhand stores near here. But this can be so much fun at times. And I think I've mentioned it in drawings before, but you highlight one word in the letter and you draw it on the page. That was abacus, and this one is backpack, and then we have cab, and then we have daisy. But you highlight the word and then you draw it. And there's so many pages in these little pocket ones in between with the same letter. You can pick out a bunch of words for each letter if you want to, or go through it once, earth, and go back and do it again. Face. It's just fun stuff like this. Gable. Anyway, that's oh, icicle. There we have another one. And that is a particular type of tree called a jacaranda. Jacaranda, I'm not sure of the pronunciation. Anyway, I haven't gotten through my whole thing. I dug it out the other day again because I used to have a lot of fun just doodling in it. So if you get a chance and you see it at the secondhand or charity shops, grab a dictionary and start doodling. Okay, so tonight I promised you that we would talk about doing napkins. Now, don't get me wrong, there are lots of wonderful multimedia artists and collagists on YouTube who have talked about napkins before, but maybe you're new to this, and you know, I'm I'm a little more clumsy and stuff than some of them are. They're very good at what they do. Hopefully, you know, I can get that kind of audience eventually, but let's talk about napkins for now, okay? There's 3 that I have got in my collection so far, and don't tell anybody, but I have 3 more patterns coming. A lot of these tend to be 20 napkins in a package for around $2.95 US, and oftentimes free shipping on eBay. So check it out. You can get all kinds of napkins to use for collage and so on eBay. So they will either be 2 or 3 ply, and all you do, they're very, very easy to separate. Moisten your fingertips and just peel back the layers. Now, this particular pattern is a 3-layer napkin, and sometimes the second layer is not as easy to get apart. But you can tell it's 3 layers because you should be able to see the pattern much more clearly on the back of the sheet. And sometimes it takes a little bit of wrangling to get that second sheet off. But I wanted to show you the whole process. Okay, this is going to start to annoy me. Seriously? Come on. It's like when a garbage bag won't open and you have your arms full of like little bags to put in the garbage bag kind of thing. See, there's 2 layers of just, and I saved those for paint cloths and stuff. They come in handy. So what you end up with is 4 panels, all the same. Okay, so you have 4 of the same picture, and you can use them, you know, 4 different times. You can cut bits out of them, and I'll show you a method where you can preserve them to cut bits out later, the fussy cutting, and you can cut the butterfly out and some of the flowers, some of the leaves, and so on. But there is one panel from that particular pattern, and that's how you separate them. Now, I have these. I love the London one. I'm particularly fond of that. But, and you know, with the price that they are on eBay, it's just, you know, you might as well have some fun with them, because when they come in, why not, eh? Now, the one that I got last week, the one pattern that I received last week in the mail, is one I didn't realize that it was a full napkin, and I absolutely love it. I love this one. It's beautiful. Look at that picture. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's 1 per napkin. But oh, and it came in a 20 pack for like $2.99. So, but I wanted to show you that, to be able to see that one sheet, because I wanted to see what it looked like open. I was able to save the whole thing on a page. There we go. Now, it's done in rough because I happen to like the non-shiny look for these. So I do non-shiny with the blue base. I'll show you how I mix it in a minute. But this is what it looks like on a double page spread. Isn't that gorgeous? I put it in my large limo journal, the big beautiful one I love so much, just to see what it looked like, and I'm so glad I did. What a page. Double page. I love this. I absolutely love it. So what we have is a sheet of napkin material. Okay. And there's a couple of things you need to watch out for, because funny things can happen. First of all, you have to watch. They're awesome on backgrounds, like music sheets. This is, do I have one of the music ones? No, I don't, but we're going to do a music sheet, so you'll see it shortly. I put London Underground on a paper, an old book page. When you choose your book page, you want to make sure that there's an abundance of text on it, and very little conversation doesn't always show up in the right spots under the napkin. And be careful what you choose as your text background, because, and I'm not going to give you long enough to see it, but on this one I didn't notice that the F word was living on this page, and there was another word that didn't sit well with, I can't remember what it was now. I think it was a name calling, but anyway, there's no way that I could include that in any work I was doing. So as an example of what not to do, be careful and go over the pages that you're going to cover with your napkins, just to make sure there's no stuff on there you shouldn't have. Now, the other thing that you can do is to grab yourself a piece of plastic or lucite, whatever it would be called at this point, or something. I cut this one folder down to make a pocket. I was needing it for something. So I have this piece of plastic, and if you put your square of napkin on there and you decoupage it down and let it thoroughly dry, what you end up with is a clear napkin. They go clear. It's awesome. And you can almost use it as a stained glass. This could go up on a window in a sunshiny room or something like that, you know. They're beautiful the way they come out, because that's just the glue and Mod Podge dried, and it makes a beautiful little see-through mat. So you can use that for different things in your collage and so on. But today we're going to put the napkin on an old piece of music. Now, if you haven't got any sheet music from the charity shop or the old shops or whatever, grab some, because these old sheets of music are wonderful when it comes to backgrounds for collage, and especially stuff like napkins, where it becomes so see-through. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, what I've been playing with, I use different mixtures before. Normally Mod Podge, and water. But this stuff can get very expensive. It's not cheap at all. So recently I have begun to use Elmer's clear glue. Just plain ordinary clear transparent. It's gorgeous because it's clear. And it dries totally clear and not glassy. It doesn't, much and all as it shines, it doesn't have a gloss finish. It's got a matte finish. So I love, love, love it. This Mod Podge is the gloss finish. You can buy the matte finish, but this is the gloss finish. So I had to temper the gloss finish, and I find Mod Podge, it tends to be sticky depending on where you live, what the weather's like, and so on. And if you have two modded pages closing together in a book, you're going to have stick. I always was putting sheets of wax paper or parchment paper in between them, but that's kind of ridiculous. They stick. Mod Podge tends to stick. So what I've been playing with the last few days and mixing up is a combination, and I don't want to spill anything here, of a little bit of water, not a lot. Not a lot at all. I hope you can see this. I'm still experimenting with lights and so on, stuff like that. Okay, some water, some Mod Podge, just a dollop, nothing more than that. I don't use any more than that. And the white or the clear Elmer's glue. I tend to use a really nice big measure of that. These bottles are so reasonable that I have no problem using it. And I've allocated a wonderful old brush to the glue tasks around our house. So you mix that up really thoroughly, and it becomes a nice, very runny, but not Mod by itself. Mod Podge tends to be, I mean, it's wonderful stuff, don't get me wrong, and I love using it. I love it. But there are limits to its usages, in my opinion, and that's, again, just my opinion. Okay, so what I do to be able to get started is, rather than doing the whole background and then laying the napkin out, you place it where you want it to be. And what I do is fold it back by half, like that, and I brush on a single line of the mixture. And then I fold the napkin back over, and that gives me a start line. And with plenty of mixture, I begin to work outward from the middle, like that. And don't ever skimp yourself on the mixture, because then you get stretch in your napkin. And go in different, in different areas, always pulling toward the outside. And yes, napkins, it's very hard to get them totally smooth. I haven't seen very many artists that have been able to do that, I've tried my art roller, I've tried the credit card thing, but they rip so easily. And I personally like that almost parchment style drying that they do, that makes it look like old frescoes, old paintings kind of thing, But you can get a lot of those creases out if you work it. If you work it while it's still wet, but you have to draw that really fine line between working it just enough to get some of the lines out and working it to the point where it rips the napkins. Because remember, you're also dealing with 1/3 or one thin layer of a 3-layer napkin. So if you think they're strong when you hold them in your hand, that's 3 layers of napkin. And this I will dry under the the nail dryer that I use for my art. I love that little thing. Make sure you apply lots of the mixture onto it. And it doesn't matter if it pulls in spots, they all dry the same. I don't find any difference between thicker spots and thinner spots with this. It seems to all work out pretty much the same. Now, I leave some of the creases because, as I said, I do like them. And this is what's going to start getting rotated under the nail dryer. But as you can see very, very clearly here, the music shows right through. The napkin almost becomes translucent on your page. And if you take them out from under the dryer, or if they're air drying, you check them every now and then and pat those lines. You can often work some of them out if you want to. And different artists find different ways to do that. As I said, I happen to like those lines. To me, they give texture, really awesome texture. As a matter of fact, I'll show you one that I did earlier. Do I have the right container? Nope. I didn't have the right container, but now I do. I did a piece of, now where is it? See, how come I can never find something when I want to find it? Dang it. It's a piece of napkin that I did, that I painted this way. Just plain tea-stained no, paper towel. It wasn't even napkin. It was paper towel. See, now I've misplaced it, or I've put it somewhere else, and I can't find it. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And anyway, it looks marvelous on top of something very much like a stone, marble or stone of some sort. Next video, I'll make sure to have it out and ready to show you. And I will be sure to have this piece dried thoroughly by our next video. I promise it won't be too long. I'm starting to get things in order now. I got my replacement mat for my desk and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a little more often. And I will let this dry, and I'll see you on the next video.